Let's did also join. Is that okay? Hey, hi, Meghna. Good morning.
Hello Sumit. Today I will be log off till 10:30.
Today we do have a short session and
Okay.
we'll go from 8:30 to 10. So we'll close our session at 10. Going forward, we'll follow the same 2.5. So
Okay.
today's account kind of foundational. So maybe you would be there, I guess, for the full
Yeah,
session. That's
till
what I understood then.
10:30.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. Okay, so now we just started talking about the prerequisite, what all things you would need in order for you to apply the knowledge that we are going to gain for the RAP. Okay. So first, RAP is supported either on BTP or on on-premise version of SAP, which is greater than 2019. Any release which is post 2019, or in simple word, I can say anything starting with 2020 plus. Okay, there you will find that many of the features of RAP are supported in case of on-premise. Definitely, while you are going with a 2021 or 22, then the amount of features supported will be higher because like any other language, SAP is also doing some sort of a releases, 6 monthly or a yearly, right? And those releases have maybe some sort of upgraded keyword libraries, upgraded features. So definitely you can see that some features which are there in 2020, in 2021 or 22, there are a few more keywords, there are more functionalities which may have been started supported. Okay, but in order for us to go with the basic RAF functionality, this is the prerequisite. Okay, first, hi Dave, good morning. Okay, and if we are talking of the BTP, then definitely there are two options, BTP trial. So this is what I'll suggest, and I would suggest that you please follow the same. In the BTP trial, you would be able to create your account, follow the US East VA wherever possible. And in case you are on the, I can say project account, okay, project BTP account, then no need to worry. You have to communicate something to your, I can say, admin person, like what all services you will need and all. That's something that we'll also discuss about, I guess, in a while. But these are the prerequisite. Now, currently, we would focus mostly on on-premise because, mostly we'll focus on the BTP trial, not on the on-premise, because we want that none of you should not be in a position that you are not able to try it out just because of the unavailability of the system. Okay. So anyway, we are on the next layer because we are trying to work on this thing on the cloud layer first. Now, whenever you are saying that you want to have a BTP trial account, the first and foremost thing should be you should be creating an account on account.sap.com. Okay. And post which you should be logging to a simple call cockpit.hana-trial.ondemand. You can simply say, like I search for over here, that cockpit HANA trial on demand, you will find the very first search over here, which will say cockpit.hana trial. So there are two flavors actually over here, cockpit.hana trial and cockpit.hana. So HANA account.hana, this is one which you are able to see over here, is a real account. Okay. And that particular real account, what do I mean by real account is it's something that will need a subscription, paid subscription. But in order for you to try out, I guess SAP is giving you 30 days of trial version. So if you just go over here, you will be seeing that you will have an option of go to trial account. Once you have created it for the very first time, while you are creating an account, you will get an option of creating a sub account. Okay. So this is kind of going to be a part of a SAP BTP. But in order for you to understand few things, I'll just walk you through the BTP architecture in, I guess, next 5 minutes, I can say. So BTP, all I can call it as a business technology platform, is an entry point for all the cloud relevant development, whichever are going on in SAP system. So you might have heard of couple of things. Okay. You might have heard of, let's just say, multiple cloud service provider. For example, I can have GCP, which is Google Cloud Platform. I can have Amazon Web Services. I can have, let's just say, Oracle, which is also nowadays into the market providing the same services. I can have Microsoft Azure as well, right? So these are all the service provider. Now, what do they do? So this particular service providers provide us services in multiple way. So services, or I can say in terms of cloud, it is called cloud offerings. Okay, in terms of cloud, it is called cloud offerings. Cloud offerings are being provided in multiple flavors. Okay, that there can be infrastructure as a service, or let's just say platform as a service, or there can be a software as a service as well. When we talk about infrastructure, okay, think widely. I guess it doesn't. You are not required to think only specific to SAP, because with the help of cloud, we as a developer would be getting an advantage that earlier all the SAP developers were centrally focusing only on the SAP relevant development, right? Because our core strength was ABAP, correct? Um, as our core strength was ABAP, all we were focusing on was, I can say, ABAP platform, anything relevant to ABAP. But while I am saying that if I'm stepping out of SAP technology, right? If I'm stepping out of SAP technology, then what do I have? I guess, can I uh, ultimately stand in that particular environment where I guess ABAP is not there? That would be a bit difficult, right? Because if that's the case, then in that case, I can see um, ABAP is no longer kind of understandable by any other technologies. Okay. But while a cloud is coming into picture, the advantage that we are getting over here is, someone is saying something? No, right? Okay. While the cloud is coming into picture, the advantage we get is that we are no longer only talking to SAP services only. We have communication to multiple open source technology. We are having a seamless integration to the third party APIs as well, right? And another good thing is we are also in a position to create our own services, right? Create our own services in the form of API. And in terms of API, the word in the cloud world, which is very widely being used, is called microservice. We are able to create our own set of microservice, purpose of which is to ultimately provide a functionality which is reusable by multiple contexts. So for example, you are creating an application over here, and this particular application, for example, you are developing one login module, one auditing module where I guess all the audit of all the activities are being logged, one module which allows you to, let's just say, do some sort of a mail sending functionality. Okay. And one for, I can say, some sort of a dashboard. So each and every module can be detached and can be plugged into any application which is willing to have these services. Okay, so if we just go from bottom to top, then if I do have a login module, which is serving the purpose of authenticating a user while he is logging into the system, does it need to be strictly attached to one application? So for example, I am saying an employee management service. Okay, same way, for example, I am also getting the sales, I can say, sales maintenance module, I can say, or I can say simply an SD module. Okay. Here also, I might need some sort of a login service, right? So even though I would have a login service, which is also created over here, I might also need a service over here. Then in that particular case, this login module is not specific to the employee management, because when I say a user should be authenticated, he should be authenticated to an environment. It means I can consider this as a microservice. Okay. And this particular microservice is plug and play kind of service, which can be used anywhere I want. Now, if I just go back to the discussion from where we started, then we were talking of the cloud offering. Now consider this is the service which I'm talking about, which has been, for example, something that we are developing. we are doing the development for it, and that will serve as a purpose of an individual plug and play component. The same kind of services might also have been given by some other party, or I can say providers. For example, if I want to have some sort of a mail functionality, then for example, Microsoft is providing a certain APIs which allows us sending a mail, or I guess there is something called graph APIs, right? Which is something which allows us communicating in the term of I can say mails or calendar invites and multiple things. So those APIs which are pre-built and we are just required to plug it in order for us to use it are nothing but an inbuilt software for us. Like you can think of a WhatsApp for you, that it's a application which is available now. In order for you to send a message to someone, you are not required to create your own application. Instead, you can just install it, or in a layman term, I can say you can create an instance of it. And if from the corporate perspective, let's just say you are paying for something, then you are taking a subscription for it. Okay. It means each and every cloud offerings are coming in two form, either a subscription model or I can say instance model. Subscription is somewhere where I guess charges are involved, to be in a layman term. Okay. Instance is something where you can expect that multiple instances of the same would be created. So one is not, I can say, entering into the area of another. Okay. So for example, if I do have two login services, but I want that the set of users which should be involved, who can use the employee management service, who can use the SD module service, should be different. Then the instance, whichever I am creating for this, will only validate the employee if they are authenticated to use this particular service. It means I'm creating an instance of it. But instance can also be created out of a subscription. So I guess these all are jargons and which are definitely not 100% relevant to the RAP. But in order for you to understand the cloud offering, multiple I can say offering, or I can say as a service, anything as a service is being provided in subscription model or in an instance model. The one which we just talked about, be it a graph API or a login module, any microservices is called a software as a service. Many a time, for example, the one which we are able to see over here is a called sub accounts, right? That's where all the discussion just started. So who is providing us this service? It is an Amazon Web Service, right? Where the region is located, it says it's in US East. Okay. It means Amazon Web Service would have their own multiple data centers on their server rooms, which are, for example, currently located in multiple areas across the globe. But out of which the one which is located in the US East over here, physically, if you just take your car, go in the US East at particular location, you will find that there is a server room of Amazon Web Service, which is hosting all the servers into which you are currently asking some amount of space in order for you to do your work. This is a meaning of a sub account over here. And that particular sub account you are getting over here. And it's not only the part of infrastructure that you are getting. Along with this, what you are also getting is you are getting the set of services. You are getting the set of services which will ultimately help you do your development work rather than focusing on the infrastructure. It means this particular provider is providing you what? It's providing you the platform. Okay, so for example, for the example will be any BTP sub account. Okay, any platform. So I can say understanding of platform as a service is that any platform coming with basic needs of, or I can say coming with I can say basic data center, server. I can sorry, my bad. Server. Then I can say basic development environment setup in a way that a developer can focus directly on on their development activity. So we are having a platform, and the platform which we are getting is more than sufficient for us to directly focus on the development rather than creating our own, installing my own, let's just say operating system. Let's just say for the very first example, that if you want to develop an application which is understanding your Microsoft Windows, then are you required to install any Windows platform? If you are willing to generate any iPhone relevant application, would you be installing a relevant operating system into it? Okay, Linux and likewise. Okay, so those all the things will come in a raw form if you are, let's just say, getting, for example, a Google Drive, right? If you are getting a Google Drive, they are just giving you some amount of. So Google Drive is also at end of the day one of the software as a service because you are getting an interface. But indirectly, what you are getting indirectly, or I can say Google Drive indirectly provides you some space, right? It indirectly provides you some space where you can store your data. So it is providing you one storage where you can store your data. It is providing you one of the infrastructure. Many a time earlier, when on-premise system, whether you were getting the infrastructure, be it in the form of a server, in the form of hard disk, in the form of RAM, which is an infrastructure. Combining all of them, you are creating your own platform, you are setting it up, and you are doing the activity. Now, with the cloud offering, those all the headaches has been removed. And that's where most of the service are now, or I can say most of the service provider are now providing you platform ready in order for you to do your development activity. Okay, and that's the meaning of a platform as a service. So BTP account is one of those. So for example, if you just go back over here, you would see that there are two things. One is your global account. Okay. Another one is your sub account. Okay. When I say I do have a global account, think it as of your organization. So for example, you do have organization. In your organization, you might have your organization's name is, for example, XYZ. There you do have a development system. You do have a quality system and you do have prod system. So this XYZ is your organization. And if your organization is willing to work, or let's just say it's having only one operating module and they're having one set of dedicated SAP system, and from on-premise, they are now moving to cloud, this global account will be nothing but your organization. So you can think of your XYZ organization is your global account. Now in your organization's global account, you want to create some sort of a sub account. There you will go and create some sort of a sub account. So for example, when I say I do have a development system, you might have some sort of a login system, right? For example, X1D, X1Q, X1P. These how your on-premise system's identity would be looking alike while you are working on on-premise. But while you are on cloud, you would have a dedicated sub account for each one of them. So for example, here you would have a sub account, which is a trial. You can think it as of your I can say one of your system. Okay, so if I just go over here, you can say create another sub account, and this may behave as your another client. I can say quality. I can move data, I can move my development, whatever I have done from one sub account to another. So these a placeholder. These in the cloud term, it is altogether a new system. So you can say if I say I want to create a QA system over here, and I want mostly you can choose any service provider you want. That is not an issue. But many a time, while an organization is opting for a region, a sub account, a provider, they ideally go through some couple of things. Okay, so how to opt for a sub account. So ideally, each organization will have their own need, right? And it will be in terms of, I can say, financial, that how much they can invest on the IT infrastructure. Another one will be kind of services they need. Okay, based on that, they would choose, because if you see currently we are in the trial account, we would have a no, I can say a free version of each of the region that we are getting. But in reality, there are not only two. There are 25 or 30, I guess, a service provider. Depending on their costing, depending on the kind of services that they are offering, you would be able to choose one. So for example, I created one on AWS. Each organization mostly prefer that whatever environment that they are choosing for dev, the same kind of service provider that they ideally choose for the quality and the production in order for all the platform to be on the same page. But for us to give and get a glimpse of what all things might differ from different service providers, if I just create a region which is being provided by Singapore, and if I just say there is a QA, I'll just create this. And as you can see, it is creating another sub account, which is being provided by Microsoft Azure, and it is physically located at the region called Singapore. Okay. So if I just go over here in the trial account, till the time that particular account is getting created, what all things I am getting as an offer. Okay. So here, yeah, hi, Josefa. I guess I didn't see your, I guess, raise hand, but
Yes,
maybe
I
you can.
just wanted to ask if we can open. I just wanted to ask if we can open multiple sub accounts inside that, multiple trial sub accounts.
Yeah.
That question is answered. So yeah, we can make them, right?
Okay. Yeah,
And
we
and
can.
and they can talk to one another. So we
They,
can experiment like that also.
Yeah, they can talk to one another. And there are certain automated pipelines for that as well. So these are all
Okay.
core cloud. Okay, I guess why I am making you guys understand this is that I don't want all of us to be that particular herd that ideally is focusing only on ABAP right now. We should be knowing BTP also a bit. Definitely, while we have
Okay.
created our ABAP environment, we would be jumping onto Eclipse. We would be doing our set of development, which is also altogether fine. We will be learning the RAP as a language for sure, but how it
Okay.
is connected to BTP, that is something we should also be knowing. And that's where I am just investing some time over here to at least make you guys understand what is BTP. Because whenever you are saying you know RAP, the first question is in interviews, okay, how it is relevant to BTP, how I can connect to it, and multiple things will come into picture. So you should be knowing it. Okay, that's the
Okay.
reason.
Okay. 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 Okay.
Perfect. So now, for example, if I just go over here you would see the service marketplace. So it's like any of your e-commerce website. Okay, so there is a platform which has been provided. And now if I see what all services are possible. So if you see, I am in my global account. Inside that, I'm in my sub account. In my sub account, I can see multiple things. Okay, the one which is of our interest for now, I can say this is my service marketplace, which provides me the set of services it is offering in order for me to do my regular activity. Now, these things can be provided in multiple flavors. Okay. So for example, if I just go over here, you would see multiple things being provided in multiple areas. Certain will be in application development. So for example, the first one in the application development and automation is called ABAP environment. So this is the one that we are mainly going to focus on because we are willing to leverage the power of SAP HANA, and at the same time we want to develop the ABAP cloud enabled applications. Okay. But at the same time, if someone is developing, for example, some mobile services, certain business rules, or let's just say uh, application which is being developed by SAP CAP. So I guess many of you would also be hearing this term also these days. Someone would also be hearing SAP Fury. I guess you might also have worked on. I guess some of you would also be a UI developer, possibly. So there, I guess SAP Web ID Full Stack was also one of the development way with the help of which we were doing the development. But now over here, the application development is being done by SAP Business Application Studio. So this is also one of the way with the help of which we can do the development. Now, what all things does it understand is it understands your Fury, it understands your BTP workflows, it understands your CAP. Okay, all those I can say native cloud things it understands. These SAP Business Application Studio. Till now, it's not versatile enough. Till now it's not just a sec, I guess. Okay, till now it's not versatile enough to understand your ABAP, and that's where SAP released one more, I can say, service marketplace offering called ABAP environment. Okay, so this is also one of those offerings. So if you just go over here, you would see that you would have an option of creating an instance and multiple things. Okay, so while you are creating an instance, you would.
Sorry, I missed it. What is the difference between this business application studio and ABAP environment?
So ultimately, for anything, for example, there are two things, BS and ABAP environment. Okay. So the kind of development environment it supports. So for example, business application studio is, think of it as of any other IDE. Now each IDE supports their own set of languages. Okay. So if I say IDE over here, I'll just go to application in order for you to picturize it better. Then you would see that it understands couple of things, but it does not understand ABAP. Your business application studio understands Fury, it understands your CAP, it understands your BTP workflow and multiple things, but it has not made versatile in a way that it understands ABAP as well. Now, in order for you to do any